Part 3 of 3.2 liter VR6 swapping my MK4 GTi. So as you guys seen in the last video, I got the 3.2 liter completely stripped down. Now I gotta put all the 2.8 liter parts on the 3.2 liter. So far we just have the fuel row installed, and I just got the valve cover gasket, but I'm gonna put that to the side for now. And yeah guys, I just gotta take off this transmission, this flywheel, this clutch and everything. Put it over there, and then I gotta take off this cooling system and install it there. Then I have to take off my accessory bracket, alternator, water pump, AC compressor, power steering, crank pulley, and I'll have to take off this mortar mount as well. Now that's one thing I don't know if I specified or not, but you gotta make sure to get the 3.2 liters to have these holes right here. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, and then you come over here and there's 1, 2, 3. But say you already bought your 3.2 liter and it doesn't have those holes, there's actually ways to tap them and thread them. So that's definitely an option. I see a lot of people do that. I just didn't really want to go through that. So also, I've been trying to be very detailed like I told you guys, and I'm not too sure if I mentioned where I got this engine from. So this engine is from a 2004 Volkswagen Touareg, and there's one part that I'm gonna do at the end that I couldn't show you guys just yet, which would be ripping off that oil pan because it's too big. And I also need to put that oil pump onto here. So while the 2.8 liter was in the car, I already popped off the oil pump. I have it somewhere over there. So if you guys are doing the exact same thing, make sure to pop off that oil pump, put it to the side, then start doing everything. Also, if your car isn't that low, you could just go ahead and reuse that oil pan from the 2.8 liter. Since mine's lowered, I bought a steel one from a Mark III. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit lost right here. I don't know exactly how I should do this because when I took off the crank pulley on the 3.2 liter, I had to basically lay the engine down, and then I had to use the breaker bar and pop it off. It was really hard to do. Now for this one, I don't want to lay it down. I don't want to break the parts. So I think I might just pop everything off. Oh, another thing that I had to do was basically reinstall this, right? And I just put on the bolts hand tight. And with that, I was able to stick in a bolt to make the block and that flywheel thing get stuck. So that way the crank pulley wouldn't move and I was able to unscrew it. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to do the same thing to this one. My plan is to pop everything off. I'll pop off the alternator, accessory bracket, mortar mount, everything. I'll pop off this water pump pulley. And then last, I'll leave the crank pulley because I know that's gonna be the hardest. That might actually be the very last thing, just so I can lay the engine down. Now when I go to install it over there, it's gonna be a struggle again. I think, honestly, if I do the same thing, the same method, and I install this on there, hand tight, and then I put the bolt, I think I could tighten it. I mean, that's the only hard part, to be honest. The crank pulley wants to move as you pop it off. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just start ripping parts off and I'll keep you guys updated. One more thing I didn't tell you guys is many 3.2 liter VR6s have these holes. The ones that I know have them for sure is the BMX engine, BUB engine, and the BAA engine, which this one is the BAA. But it's pretty easy to find that information. You can look it up on the forums. Usually, if the engine was on a A3, Audi TT, R32, anything like that, it will always have them. The Touareg ones are the ones that don't always have them, but mine was from a Touareg, and it did have them. Like I said, BAA, BMX, and BUB. Now let's start ripping off these parts. So all the parts are ripped off, guys. The only thing left is the crank pulley, and we still got the transmission on there. It's actually only held by one bolt right now. So I'm gonna do the method that I told you guys about, where I take out the transmission, pressure plate, clutch, and flywheel. Then I'll throw that one on, stick a bolt in there, then I'll be able to crank off the crank pulley. But if you look over here, I was already test fitting everything, and everything seems to be fitting good. Mortar mount brackets on there good, belt tensioners there good. I even put on the water pump pulley. We got the alternator, AC compressor, power steering pump, and we got the accessory bracket right there. We got the oil cooler installed, but like I told you guys, it's just hand tight with no silicone right now. I just want to make sure everything fits first. We even put on the secondary air injection pump bracket right here, which a lot of people just delete that, but I'm keeping it. And the way that I organized my transmission bolts was taking them off, and then I just put them right here. Let me show you guys with flash. So basically, every time I took off a transmission bolt, I'd put it where it goes, just to keep everything organized. Yeah guys, we're getting close. Transmission's about to get popped off. All right guys, so as you can see, the pressure plate is exposed. Now we can unscrew the pressure plate, then take off the clutch and take off the flywheel. And here's my beautiful 6-speed transmission. And I ordered a new slave cylinder slash throwout bearing. I just need to wait for it to get here. I ordered the OEM Luke one. And I just want to keep advising you guys to stay organized. Trust me, that makes everything so simple. Literally every little thing that I take off of this engine, I throw it onto the new one. Just hand tight. As long as it's organized. All the transmission bolts, I took them off and I put them in their spot on the other engine. Some are just hanging there with tape, but at least I'll be organized. So now let's pop off the clutch kit, then we can move on to the crank pulley. And there's the clutch, guys. As you can see, it's in great condition. I honestly think the owner before me replaced it. I own this car for about 4 years, but it is a 20-year-old car or a 21-year-old car, so perhaps they replaced it before. Look at that, guys. It's in great condition. Everything looks good. So let's put that to the side. All right, guys. So the flywheel is off, as you can see. So I'm gonna do the hack right now that I told you guys about, where I attach this to it, I put a bolt on it, then I'll finally be able to take off this crank pulley. After I take that off, I can literally throw this engine right there and I won't need it anymore. Crank pulleys, man, they're really hard to take off. I honestly think today I'm gonna just install the crank pulley with some Loctite, finish that off, and tomorrow I'm gonna come back, silicone everything properly, torque spec everything, because this took a while, honestly. I literally thought I was gonna have everything silicone, the gaskets on today, but man, that took days, honestly. There's the clutch and the pressure plate. There's the flywheel over there. I will be cleaning it with brake cleaner before I install, just to make sure. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead, throw that on to pop off the crank pulley. All right, guys, so I got the crank pulley off. And in case you guys are doing this job without power tools how I am, this is how I did it. I put the automatic flywheel on here with the bolt. Then I laid the engine down and I grabbed the breaker bar. And I just pulled on it as hard as I could. And it came right out. Now it's time to put it on the 3.2 liter. And I'm gonna use the same method. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this one off. Put it on there. Then torque the crank pulley. After that, I can finally get rid of that and no longer use it. I gotta say, guys, this is a whole lot of work because I don't have electric tools. I'm just using muscle here. I really need to invest into electric tools. It'll make these big jobs a lot easier. But the 2.8 liter is completely stripped and you guys will no longer be seeing it. We're gonna put it next to the trash pile. There it is, guys. It's officially in the trash pile and we will no longer be needing it. And here's the official setup, guys. We got the 3.2 liter with all the accessories and we got the transmission over there. This is the official setup. So there's a couple things that are already officially installed, like the fuel row and the crankshaft pulley. Also, I had to do some research to find out the torque spec. And online it said it was 80 foot-pounds of torque. I used a whole lot of Loctite. And anyways, this is the full setup, guys. And most of this is just test fitted on. It's hand tight on. I need to clean up a lot of it and put silicone just to make sure that nothing leaks. I haven't installed the valve cover gasket just yet. So the plan for tomorrow is to just throw everything on, clean it up, throw on some silicone. And tomorrow's Sunday, so I don't know if the slave cylinder would get here. I might have to wait till Monday. Hopefully it gets here by then so I can throw the transmission on. But I'm gonna keep you guys updated. Like I said, this is supposed to be a step-by-step guide for you guys. So as you can see, everything from my 24 valve 2.8 liter VR6 fits on here. The transmission, accessory bracket, alternator, every little thing's on there. There was even some little sensors that it was really easy to do because it was like Legos. You know, I took pieces off of the 2.8 and right away installed them onto the 3.2. That's why I put everything hand tight, just so I know exactly where it goes. And I advise everybody to do the same because if you were to completely strip the 2.8 and see all the parts there, then you try to throw them on, you may get confused. So I did it the simple way. Everything is in its place right now, so I know exactly where everything goes. All the way down to the transmission bolts. I don't know if you guys can see. I put it right there with tape just to know where they go. I'm really trying to be super organized with this, guys. I even got Ziploc bags over there that are labeled with all the bolts. That's the key to this. If you guys want to do the swap, just stay really organized. Don't rush it too hard. It's honestly going to be way easier on yourself if you just stay organized. And yeah, I'm excited, man. After test fitting everything, every single thing fits. It's gonna go in as if it were a stock engine. Like, it's just gonna fit. And the only thing that's gonna notice it's not a stock engine is the ECU. But we're gonna hit up a tuner and get this bad boy tuned so it can run properly. And I'm trying to show you guys the full swap, so I'll also show you what tuner I go with. And yeah, guys, we're getting really close. I really hope the slave cylinder gets here on time. I'm also waiting for my steel oil pan, but I'm not too worried about that one because I need to have the whole engine in. Then I can pop off the steel oil pan. And I'm pretty sure I already told you guys, I also popped off the oil pump from the 2.8 liter and it's just sitting over there. I'm not gonna install it just yet. I'm gonna put the engine in the car, pop off the oil pan, pop off the oil pump, and then I'll throw in the 2.8 liter oil pump. I'll throw in the steel oil pan. We're really getting close, guys. Like, I know everything still looks taken apart, but trust me, it's all pieced together. Like, this looks like how my engine looked when it came out of there. It's getting close to being ready to get slapped in. That's gonna be the end of today's video. I believe this is part 3. Stay tuned for part 4. I'm gonna keep you guys updated. And if you guys are doing this swap yourself, feel free to write comments. I'll make sure to reply to you guys. I'll make sure to give you guys info. But I'm trying my best to cover everything. Now I'm really tired. I've been out here all day. I'm about to go get some In-N-Out and hang out with my wife. And this has nothing to do with this series, but I'm gonna make sure to drop some cool videos and some cool rollers of the car. I'm gonna show you guys a lot of exhaust notes, 2-step once the car's done. So stay tuned for that as well. See you guys in the next video.